Okay, I am back again, and I hope that I'm in the frame. I set the camera up so that I should be in the frame, and I'm gonna just have faith that I am. So I have my Sharpies and my little picks. Alright, so there's a lot of water swimming in here. This is quite soggy. So I might end up draining these off a bit into the sink. Because I want them wet, but I don't want them so soggy that the little plants, seeds rot. So before I put seeds in there, let's see how this side is. Okay, the other ones in the other tray are wet but not excessively soggy, which is great news. And there's not excessive water floating around in there. This one here is the one I came back to and added more. So, back in flesh, I'm just going to drain this a little bit so I don't have a problem later. Okay. Yes, that was an extremely excessive amount of water. Okay, so let me just say about my blue shirt. This blue shirt's been in most of my videos, and I know it. And I do have other clothes. I just wanted to say that because I wear it a lot, and the reason being is I wear a uniform shirt to work. I come home, I have a few things that are comfortable that I throw on and wear on the weekends and stuff like that. And yeah, I do laundry. So, my shirt's clean-ish, except for the little dirt I've got on it. And there it is. I do have more clothes than this, I just choose not to wear them. So, let's see. Just in case anybody was wondering. So, this is just obsessive tidying. So what I'm going to do first is put names of things on my little plant picks. So I'm going to start with what I want to plant the most first, because I want to make sure those get a spot. Because as you can see, I have two trays, only so many things. I have a big bunch of seed packets here, and I want to have multiple plants because A, I want to sell a few, B, I want to plant a few. I'm not going to plant tons of the same thing in my gardens, but I am going to plant enough that I can get a decent harvest of something, because so far all my gardening has been closer to hobby gardening. I did want to make a mini farm, micro farm at the old place, and it never really got there. The past few years I didn't do much for gardening because every summer we were looking for a house, and then we'd sort of peter off in the winter time. There weren't that many options to look at, and then the spring we'd be looking again. So I ended up never really planting a full garden. I'd plant a few things, early crops, fast growing crops, just something to have something, just because the beds were there and I had seeds, and that's what I do. As I like to say, I paint and I grow things, and summer is coming. So here we are. I'm going to get what I can, is the best harvest I can get for myself this year. I want to have a lot of food. I want to be able to store a lot of food. I want to dehydrate things. I want to freeze things, possibly can things. I have things coming in the mail. I have elderberries coming. I have Jerusalem artichokes coming. I want to start permaculture here. But there's the difference between homesteading and farming. Homesteading is doing what you got to do to survive for yourself. farming is more to produce crops for other people as well as for yourself. I want to do a combination. Now, I'm not saying that homesteaders don't go sell plants or come up with a product off their homestead that they sell. You can make a little bit of money here and there on the homestead, or you can specialize in something on the homestead and make a profit. But most homesteaders I know have another job. They have a day job, and that's what they have to do that. Some get to a point where all they have to do is live off the land, and that's, I think, all of our dream and goals for people that homestead would be to do that, unless they really, really love their job off the home place. I have a good job. The people there are wonderful that I work with, and it pays the bills for the most part and has the required health insurance and those type of things. But would I love it if I didn't have to go work for somebody else every day and get to stay home and just do my thing and make my own money off of what I produce with the painting and the gardening? Oh yeah, buddy, you know it. So anyway, back to seed starting. These, I got a few of these last year. Oh my God, they were so good. Barry's Crazy Cherry Tomatoes. Now I thought I had more of the seeds left than I have. I had opened the pack. I planted a decent amount. They do produce clusters like shown on the package. They unbelievable. And out of all the tomatoes I planted last year, I got hardly anything but what I got off of this plant. And I had like 3 of them, and each of them had a couple of clusters, and the tomatoes were like eating candy, I tell you. They were so sweet and delicious, just like the size of grapes. You might have thought you were eating grapes because they were so just that sweet and juicy. So Barry's Crazy Cherry is my numero uno, and I might have to send away for another pack of these. I thought I had more than I had. But in the meantime, Barry's Crazy CH Barry's Crazy CH. I'm abbreviating obviously because who wants to write that long name out? I could put just Barry's, but my OCD won't let me be that brief. Barry's Crazy CH. Alright, so there's gonna at least be 3 of these bad Johnnies. So 1, 2. Now these flats, if I tore them apart, they'd be 6 packs going this way, just like in the store. So I'm putting my rows horizontally. Now let's see what I could get out of here. Oh, I might be able to get even another couple of plants. So, oops, I'm trying to get away from me. I'm putting 2 seeds on each square. Oops, I missed one there. Maybe. So I'm going to put one more. And I really know. Oh. Aha. Alright. 2 there and 2 there. Now, these seeds are so tiny, you probably can't see them. Because remember, they came out of a cherry tomato the size of a grape, and I don't know if you can see that tiny, tiny little seed. So that seed, if I stuck this an inch into the ground, it would never sprout and find its way to the surface. It might start to germinate down there, but it would not rise all the way up. It would uncurl and sort of get stuck. So that's why you want to plant your seeds no more depth than the actual size of the seed. Now, that's probably like a 1/16 of an inch. I can't get it back into the soil. Alright, so all I'm going to do is sort of sprinkle some of these little lumps of soil on it. That are here, and I probably don't really even have to do that, because you know, if you've ever seen those videos that you take a seed and a wet paper towel and wring out the excess moisture from the paper towel and put it in a Ziploc bag and carry it in your pocket for a few days, or just lay it on a heat mat under a light for a few days, that's all it needs to germinate is moisture and light and warmth. It's after it pops out that it needs soil and you know, for the roots to grow in. Alright, so I'm going to make one more Barry's Crazy Alright, Barry's Crazy CH. Here we go. Everybody that had any of these last year was like, oh my god, those are so good. Need more, need more. So I'll be doing some seed saving this year with these. Let's just triple check. Nothing. They're gone. Okay. So next I have these are burpee seeds. I saw these, just the picture sold me. I try to stay with heirlooms as much as I can, but these are a hybrid, and all a hybrid, and a hybrid is not genetically modified other than any more than you are. It's your mother and your father got together and made a you. That's cross-pollination is a hybrid. That's what the hybrid is. Cross-pollination. Was this open pollinated? I don't know, and that's what I try to go for, is open pollinated, and it should say it on here. If it doesn't, then it means that it wasn't the bees, the birds and the bees that did the pollinating. It meant that somebody took a Q-tip swab and, you know, rubbed the flowers together and did it that way. But anyway, Super Sweet 100 hybrid. If I can get clusters of tomatoes like that, it's okay that it's not an heirloom, because in 25 years, if people are still growing it, it will be. So I'm going to put Super Sweet 100 hybrid. Hello again. So guess what? My battery died in the middle of making that last video. Apologize for the interruption, and I decided at that time that the smartest thing to do was to finish what I was doing and finish filling those seed trays. But I will show you my final finished product of seeded trays. And in the meantime, I'm going to do one more experimental tray. I don't have any more grow lights, but I do have a window. And in the olden days, they used to just do these things if they were starting seeds inside. They did it with sunlight. And yes, my seedlings may get leggy or lean. They might be crooked and kind of leaning towards the window. But there are ways to get around that. Because in the days when I didn't have any such thing as a grow light, I have done this. I just turned the tray. And it's funny because the stems would be a little bit like almost twisty looking, but if I turn the tray regularly enough, that shouldn't be an issue. And I did get plants, and I did have tomatoes with those things. Seed starts. My plan now is to plant some things that are more cold weather crops anyway, because I don't have another heat mat either to put these things on. So it's, it's at least like 50 degrees in my house, usually a little bit warmer than that, closer to 60. And I'm thinking that maybe I can get some broccoli and Brussels sprouts and a couple of herbs going in this. So I am again I have my trusty labels and my marker, and this is a Sharpie. It's a fine point Sharpie, and it will do the job nicely. One thing, no matter what you use, if you use these markers without like rewriting on them or without putting something more permanent in your garden bed rows, you're really going to struggle later in the summer, because first of all, they're going to disappear under the bushes of plants, and second of all, the Sharpie does wear off in the rain over time. As permanent as it is, outside it's not so much. Between the sun, the rain, and God knows what else, it will fade. So anyway, I am going to start with some kale. Vates Scotch Blue Curled. I have at least 100 seeds here. So I have kale, Vates, Scotch Blue, kale, Vates, Scotch Blue. Some of the things that I did in the other trays, after I did my tomatoes and peppers, I also put in gooseberries, ground cherries, and huckleberries, and a couple of holy basil. Last year I had no luck with the holy basil, and I didn't get any ground cherries or gooseberries or huckleberries. I don't think I even planted huckleberries last year. And quick point I want to make, reread your seed packets, because as I was, skimming over them, I noticed on the huckleberries it said delicious in pies and blah blah blah. Eat cooked, do not eat raw. So I'm guessing that they're either disgusting or toxic raw. So I'm glad I made that note to myself, and I'm just going to have to keep reminding myself that I have to cook those suckers if I get any. Alright, so I'm doing 3 of these kales in the Scotch Blue. 1, 2, and 3. I maybe should do 6 because I could probably sell a couple plants. But I don't know. I'll see where I'm at after I'm just going to sprinkle a couple of seeds on the top of each one. These seeds were from last year, like many of my seeds, because where we managed to find a house in April, and I had been starting seeds, but I wasn't planning to do a big garden at the other house, and I was hoping to do like a small portable garden if we did find a house in grow bags. The idea was not to garden too heavily, even though I had a ton of seeds. I didn't water underneath these yet. I ended up on my other ones, when I picked them up, it was so drenched that I had to drain the second one too. I realized I could feel sloshing underneath. So I'm not going to do that this time. I made sure the soil was extra damp here when I mixed it up and put it in. I had some left over from the other day when I was mixing it up. I added a little more, packed this thing well. And I think breathing it in right now is what's making me cough. Excuse me. And I probably should have got my cup of coffee before I sat down. And so now I have these little pods. Let me tell you the story of these little pods. So last year, Stop and Shop, our local grocery store, which is part of Ahold and like Giant Food Mart and all of that, you know, they're all related. Anyway, they gave out these little boxes and kits for Grow and Learn seed pods. And it came with a little tray and a little cardboard backing and these little things. And it has this little tiny grow doohickey with the little seed starting pellets like you find from Jiffy Mix that this would have turned into soil, much like what I have in here. And, oh yes, and it also has little tabs so you know what you have. So harvest after give or take 15 weeks. It's a brassica, obviously. And it's got the Brassica oleracea convar, Botrytis var italica, Calabrese natalino. So it's seed grown in Italy? Wow. So it's Italian broccoli, basically, is what it's telling me. So there's broccoli seeds in this little packet. I am not going to use this or this for this. I am going to use the seed tray. But there are a bunch of seeds in here, so I'm just going to stick this in here and let myself know that this is broccoli. Now, I think this is not even a packet. It's like a piece of tissue that had seeds put on it and laid another tissue on. So all I have to do is tear this up and put so that a couple of seeds are in each of these things. And there's gonna still be embedded in the paper, which is perfectly fine, because if you've ever seen the paper towel trick for germinating to see how viable your seeds are, this is basically the same thing. And there's still a couple of seeds here. There's one seed here. I don't need that much paper. And one seed here. So, I can just cover over the pieces of paper, barely. Hi, Sophie. How you doing? You doing bad dog things? And once I water this in, then I'll have broccolis. Now, I've never grown broccoli before. This is a first time for me to try it. And I'm really excited to have broccoli. Homegrown broccoli. It's just thrilling me. So, here's another one of those same pods. And I'm gonna yeah, I'm gonna do 6 more broccoli plants. I don't know what she's up to. I think she's trying to jump onto the couch. Sophie's getting a little old and arthritic, and she struggles to get on the couch sometimes. Alright. So, my seed papers are covered up. So there's a dozen broccoli plants, hopefully. with any luck. Curly parsley. I love curly parsley. I love parsley. Curly parsley's the best. So I'm gonna just do 4 of those real quick. Alright, so I put several parsley seeds in because I want a nice bushy plant, and I can always thin them if they seem crowded. Whoops. Losing seeds again. Okay, so I'll put them in there. Alright, so there's curly parsley, broccoli. What else do I want to start right now? I wanted to try, I have some really old, I'm talking about germinating old seeds. I have some really old Brussels sprouts. And that's beans. These are burpee seeds that I bought at the garden center of the Home Depot. Because I said I decided I liked Brussels sprouts and I wanted to try growing them myself. And I'm not going to use a lot of cells in here, just because the way I know how good Tomato Bob's seeds are is exactly how much I don't know about burpee seeds germinating when they're old. And like I said, these are really old. These are from, they were packed for 2015, which was the last year I worked at the Home Depot. So I'm putting several seeds in here. And I'm just going to pat them down. And I'm going to pat down my parsley seeds too. Just slightly cover them. I didn't really dig little holes. I usually scratch up a little bit of the surface so that they'll pack in. But we'll see what happens. So I'm going to put 2 Brussels sprout labels. I haven't planted before, like this purple basil. So I think I'm going to plant that, because I would like to have some purple basil. Okay. And I did try to grow this last year, I guess, and I didn't get any. And I know that because the thing has been opened and taped shut. Most of my other herbs I'm going to just direct sow, like dill. Those things tend to do okay direct sown. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, even though I only wrote 2 things. 1, 2. Some people are probably wondering why, I mean, what's today's date? Today's March 9th. Now, I had planned on starting my seeds March 1st, but, you know, things happen, and the actual first, and, you know, I started doing it the first weekend of March, which is just how my time worked out. Some people are like, well, I've already seen a whole bunch of new seed starting videos. Why are you so late? Well, I live in Massachusetts, and the seed starting videos most people have done already are seed starting in, you know, I've seen people in the South and in Arkansas and, you know, further west and southwest. they can start their seeds. You're supposed to start your seeds 8 weeks before your last frost date. My last frost date in my time, in my planting zone, which is 6B, I believe, or 7B. 6B, 7B. I'll have to double check. I forget. I always forget. But our last frost date is May 3rd. So I can remember that, but I can't remember my zone. May 3rd. So therefore, I can't plant anything outside till May 3rd. And sometimes it's New England. So I'm not going to mess around and have my stuff out too early. So I figure I'd rather have it in the house a little bit longer. And I'm going to pot out some of these things, and I'll be able to, still grow them in the house. And we have a screen porch, and we have our mudroom. It gets a lot of heat and sunlight during the day, starting around, April and May. So I'm not too worried about, running out of room and these things getting too big and leggy. But I can put them out a little early if the weather forecast is telling me that we're past it. We're not seeing any frost in the forecast for the next, 2 weeks or something before May 3rd. Then sure, they can go out. I've done it before. I've, started hardening things off in April. And letting them sit out in the daytime. So I'm not too worried at all about starting a little bit late, because if the things go out when they're a little bit smaller, that's perfectly fine. It's not going to hurt anything. So sometimes just time and tide wait for no man, and you have things to do and you can't get to what you were planning to get to, and you just deal with it, and the garden will still grow. It's just technically a few days. I don't think I have. Oh, one thing I wanted to start inside that I didn't was eggplant and pepino melons. And they should be, the pepinos and eggplants, those should be on a heat mat. Peppers. Let's see if I can find the pepinos, because I can at least see if they can grow in here. Pepino melons grow like an eggplant. They are a weird little thing. They almost look like a white eggplant with purple streaks. They're about the size of an eggplant. They fit in the palm of your hand. And I've said it before that I've seen them in the grocery store for $2 a piece for something that's like not much bigger than a pear. Imagine. So I don't know why I can't find the seed packet. Lettuce, melon, ginger fried, melon pepino. Here we go. Pepino melon. I thought I grew some of these last year, but it doesn't look like I've opened the seed packet. Then again, it seems like there's no seeds in the packet, but I know the seeds are very tiny because I've seen them in the melons when I bought one at the store. So they taste kind of like a cucumber and a cantaloupe had a baby. They have that taste kind of like when you eat a little bit too close to the rind of the cantaloupe and it sort of doesn't have the sweetness anymore. It's that taste. And it's not bad tasting at all. It's not something that you just want to sit and eat it by itself, though. It's kind of, it's kind of blandish. But I will say that I thought it would be great in a regular, you could have it in a regular salad, you could have it in a fruit salad, and you can put it in a stir fry and stuff too, if you want. You can cook it, because it doesn't turn to mush like a cucumber. But, alright. So, somebody's trying to call me, and they won't. My phone keeps ringing, and I might have to go and pause this video and take that phone call. I might not. So I'm going to just do 2 pepino melon plants. See how they work out. You grow them like eggplant. And like I said, that's why it should actually technically be on a heat mat. But we're going to just hope that the soil is warm enough to get them going in here in the house with the sunlight hitting it. It's supposed to hit, like, today got almost up to 60, and there's a picture on the seed packet of the pepino melons. The one I had didn't look as yellow as that on the inside, so I'm wondering if it wasn't as ripe as it should have been. I heard you can eat the skin of these, and I have read, I can't say I've heard, but I have read that the skin, the riper the pepino is, the tougher the skin gets. So therefore you might want to consider you know, what you're using it for if you just want to eat it as fruit. You know, you don't want to eat the skin, and if you do want to eat the skin, you can, if you want to cook it, you can put it in a stir fry. Just have it when it's less ripe. Maybe I'll just do more holy basil. Why not, right? Because I did not plant enough of that, I don't think. And here we go. Doesn't want to open. Basil, holy basil. We are going to really pray for this holy basil to grow. Here it's magnificent. It's a beautiful cut flower. It's a beautiful tea. I want it. So I'm going to make my tabs for this. You don't have to watch me write these out. And then I will shortly be going downstairs. I will show you what I have down there going on with the stuff under the grow lights real quick. And then this video will at long last be at an end. And I hope it hasn't been too long and boring, and I will snip out some of my babbling just to save you all from the curse of listening to me. It's always more fun to be dirty. Don't forget. And pretty soon, we'll be painting. I haven't done any painting videos yet, so I will have that coming up as it warms up, and I can do stuff in the garage. Because we do seem to have a warming trend coming on, even though it is only March. You know, they always say about the Groundhog Day, if he sees a shadow, it's 6 more weeks of winter. Well, around here, 6 more weeks of winter brings us to about the middle of March. That is an early spring. So, as promised, I don't know how well you can see this, because it's taking a picture of lights is kind of tricky, but here are my shelves with the little lights hanging over them, and here are the plants. I don't see anything sprouting yet because it's Tuesday and I put them down here Sunday, but you can tell by the moisture collecting on the top of this that the water is evaporating because the soil is staying warm. So all that little water droplets. So I have my garden huckleberries, Cape gooseberries, all those peppers and tomatoes. They're sitting here, hopefully getting nice and warm and comfy and ready to bust out from under their blankets. So once again, I thank you for joining me at Painted Garden Farm. This is Terry. I wish you well, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you again soon. Have a great day.